I got four subscribers showing me this, that Discord will possibly record your video calls, voice calls, and channels, including screen shares. This is harmful and dangerous misinformation, chat. It's not Discord will possibly. No, Discord records your video calls, voice calls, and channels, including screen shares. Apparently, they have silently removed the fact that they do not store contents of video or voice calls or channels, and also the fact that they don't store streaming content when you share your screen. What's interesting is that the information we collect is certain information when you use Discord, which includes information you provide to them, information they collect automatically, they don't specify what that is, and information we receive from other sources. They also do not provide what that is. So, I gotta say, like, the communists of Romania would have had a hard-on if they had access to this level of technology. I mean, they actually had to work to wiretap and to bug people's houses and microphones, but now people, we live in an era where they want to be bugged. They demand it. Like, they're happy. Because the thing is, if you were to actually poll the population, most people would say that this is a good thing. They enjoy this. Like, they want big corporation into their private life. So, I don't even know what people want me to say in this video. Like, this is desirable. This is a good thing. It's for safety. In fact, I'm pretty sure that they will say, oh, this is to stop terrorism, or it's to catch pedophiles, or whatever. So we now trust the corporation that had admins which were into bestiality, other nasty shit. I mean, they have been Discord admins that were convicted. I'm not talking about an accusation on the internet. I'm saying, like, the judge and jury find the defendant guilty, and yet this corporation is now bearing the responsibility of finding out which people use their website in a nefarious manner. And in order to do that, they have to listen into you, to your mother, to your grandmother, to your children, to everyone, right? Like, everything that you say on their platform is recorded and documented. And it's kind of hilarious because right now in the United States, they're talking about TikTok and other shit. It's like, oh, the Chinese government harvests information. American companies harvest information as well. And people do not give a fuck. No one cares. Like, people know. And yet they still use the product because there's nothing else to use. It's convenient. So this is what's going forward. Right? Like, whenever you're on Discord, you need to be aware that everything you say is monitored, is going... Like, pretend that you're in the Soviet Union. And there are people on the Discord, like the KGB, that are listening into the shit you say. Now, I'm pretty sure they may not actually use it in a nefarious manner, but imagine you end up being a politician someday, or imagine you end up being someone important. Well, they will have a lot of information to blackmail you with in a culture where political correctness is ran amok. Oh, you said the N-word on that Discord call? Well, if you don't want it linked to the public, then you best do what they say. This is how things were done in the Soviet Union. This is how things are done in China. This is how things are done in North Korea. I know it sounds ridiculous when I'm saying it, and a lot of people are probably thinking that I'm crazy, but, like, take into account that a lot of the predictions that I made, in fact, almost every prediction that I made on this channel, came true. Right? So, the politics in Soviet Union, the politics in China, the way they are being done is that every citizen is being monitored. Whether it is, like, through wiretapping or through neighbors doing reporting or at work, various things, right? So they have a folder on almost every single person. Now, if usually they don't access that folder. Like, the information is just there. It's in the cloud, as they would say. Now, if a person actually manages to get in a position of power, so let's say they are trying to get an important profession or they enter politics, if that person starts to become a problem, then they will say, all right, well, let's see what we have on him. And that's when they open the folder. And they look. It's kind of difficult not to find something on anyone. Because if you're being documented for years, especially now that everyone is on the internet and all these websites are documenting every activity that you did, it's next to impossible that you never said something edgy or something that can be taken out of context, or 4 or 5 sound bites that can be put together in order to create something else. And then they can say, well, look, you're kind of inconveniencing us. Either you step down or we send this to the press. Or just the press just releases an article and all of a sudden your political ambitions die. Your idea of getting that perfect job goes away. Like, that's how it's done in these fascist authoritarian states. And now the same system is being built the United States by private companies. Not by the government, by private companies. All of them are harvesting information. Every single one. They're harvesting information that you give willingly, that you consent to. There is no conspiracy. There is no shadowy cabal. No, like, you can read their terms of service. They flat out state that they are going to tackle everything that you give them. They're going to store it. And, you know, maybe sell them to a third party or use it later on if you become too problematic. It is what it is, you know, like, it's the way things are going. There's no stopping this. Like, there's no freedom movement or privacy movement. The only time people will care is when it affects them. Like, when it's going to start to affect a person's personal life, that's when they're going to start complaining about it, but by then it's going to be way too late. So Discord is not even the only company that does this. Like, Sony also said that they are logging what people talk on voice chat. Blizzard stated that they're doing the same thing. There's a lot of corporations that are flat out telling you, it's like, if you use our product, we are going to monitor what you say, and we are going to document it, and we're going to store it. And yet people still use the product. Well, at this point, it's consent. Like, you can't even say that's like during the Soviet Union, because there was no consent. Like, no one wanted to have their phone bugged. But here, people do enjoy using these websites that they are fully aware. And by the way, like, this whole idea that they're there to tackle terrorism or they're there to tackle kiddie porn. Like, okay, how did our ancestors manage to have a society without having to read everyone's mail? Because that's how people used to communicate, right? Like, they would send a mail and the postal office would not open that envelope. How did they manage to survive without opening every single package that people sent? How did they manage to survive without having to listen to every single phone call? I mean, they did that here, under the Iron Curtain, but they didn't do it in America, because America was a free and just society, so they wouldn't listen to your phone call unless they had an order from a judge. But that's a different conversation. So you have, like, all of this fascism that's coming in through the private sector. And as we saw, when it came to Twitter, many times these corporations work hand in hand with the government, because it's good for business. Like, if you're one of these corporations, why wouldn't you work with the guy? Like, you got nothing to lose. I mean, it's not like people are going to leave your website if you do. So if the government, without a court order, says, can we have access to the data? Sure. Why not? I mean, like, what's to stop them from sharing it? So from now on, every time you're on Discord, imagine that the admins are there with you in your room. They are sitting literally next to you, over your shoulder, very concerned about what you are talking with other people. This should be the mental image you have whenever you're on this website. At all times. So, if you don't say something in public, don't say it on Discord. If you do say it on Discord, then, well, it's public record. You should imagine yourself like you're in front of the Senate committee when you're on Discord. Because everything you say can and will be used against you at some point. So let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.